Hello, welcome back to our channel, Way Out Here. Today I'm going to make a brood box for new ducklings. So we've got 4 baby ducks on the way. I just got the notification email that they will be arriving sometime this week. So it'll depend on when they're hatched. They send them when they're like a day old. So we're going to get 4 babies. We're going to expand our flock a little bit more. We have intentions of hopefully raising ducklings, hatching ducklings, selling ducklings, and potentially selling the eggs. So we have 4 females. Some call them hens, some call them just ducks, whatever. But 4 female ducks on the way on this nice, cool, overcast, foggy day in September here, way out here. And I am going to actually set up the brood box today with the intention that it's going to be kind of cool, that we're going to be raising and integrating these new ducklings into a flock when it's cool. I mean, it is cool today. It's like 43 maybe right now. So I'm going to have to get my hat on and come back out here to work on that. But I'm going to show you guys how we set up our brood box and our idea for doing this. Because when we had originally gotten our ducks before, it was summertime. It was nice and warm. We still used a heat lamp. But they went right into the duck house because we got them all together all at the same time. We didn't have to integrate them into each other. So, and for those of you who don't know that story, I actually have an article I wrote about it for Ready Nutrition for Tess Pennington. So I will link that down below. That's how we started our duck journey. So that's important to know too, because this is going to be different. This additional 4 additional ducklings to the flock is going to be a little bit different than what we've done before. We do have the 2 naturally hatched ducklings too, that for all intents and purposes, we believe still at this point are 2 female ducks, but we still don't know for sure. And I put a little disclaimer in that because we have not actually gone and done the vent sexing on them, and they're not old enough to produce a quack or that raspy cough that a drake would produce. And we don't see a drake feather on either of them, but also, again, they're probably not quite old enough to have that anyway. So we're just going to go with the assumption that they're female ducks based on the coloring of the beak and how quickly we have a male and a female cayuga, and the male cayuga pretty quickly lost the black coloring on his beak when he was little. And by about this time, it was quickly turning to that more yellow color. And I'll show you guys up close the difference between our 2 adult cayugas, the parents of the 2 babies. It's pretty obvious, you know, as they get older in just the coloring, the differences between the 2. So anyway, that's our assumption. I am going to go inside and get my hat and maybe a pair of gloves because it is really cool out here. So I'm also going to have to turn off the heater in the greenhouse. We left the heater on overnight just in case. We've got some tomatoes in there and a couple of cucumbers still that we don't want to lose. So we're just going to use the heater overnight in that greenhouse until if there's like a fear of a frost or something, just so that we don't lose the tomatoes that we have left. So I'm going to go get my hat and we'll get started on this brood box. Before we started the brood box, I just wanted to show you guys the difference between you can see here between the male and the female. This is our male. His name is Moose, and you see the color of his beak. So that changed pretty quickly when he was younger. Like, he started to get a lot more white to his beak, or yellow to his beak. This is one of the ducklings, and this is the other duckling. And neither of them have any change in color to their beaks whatsoever yet. So that's why we're leaning towards the fact that they are female, because here's their mom. This is Goose, and they get white feathers after they hatch some babies. But Goose has a dark beak as well. She's got an all black beak, if you can see. So it's like light on the tip, but it's, for the most part, it's pretty solidly dark colored, especially in comparison to this guy here. You can see how vibrant his beak is. So that's what we're kind of basing it on. Their quacks have changed a little, like they're peeping less, so we should be able to get a more definitive gender on them, find out what sex they are for sure here in the coming weeks. We just noticed when we got back from the wedding that their peeps are becoming more quack-like. So as we go on, we'll keep you guys updated on what we think Yep, that's a female quack. That's Goose making that sound. So the males don't do that. They don't have an actual quack. They have more of a raspy cough sounding quack. So as they get older, we'll keep you all updated on what we think they are. But for now, they're looking more like the mama and less like the dad. So, but we'll see. Yeah, let's go get this brood box made now that we've got that out of the way. This is the box I'm going to use to put our ducklings in to make our brood box. This is just a standard, like, dollar store storage box. And actually, my friend gave this to me. It's all chewed up by her dogs, and she had dog food in it. And once it got chewed up, you can see the rim there where it's all, like, the lid won't go on. She did give me the lid too, but I threw that away. We don't need the lid for a brood box for the babies. But once this got all chewed up and her dogs no longer needed it, instead of throwing it away, it's like I asked if we could just salvage it and use it for a brood box. So something like this, you don't want cardboard. Cardboard, oh man, ducks are, if you don't know anything about ducks, they are ridiculously messy with water. Like to the point where you would assume that you read articles about how ducks, like how messy ducks are with water, and you assume that they have to be over exaggerating. Normally I found that that's an under exaggeration. They are extremely messy. You do not want to put a cardboard box or use a cardboard box as your brood box. So I'm going to just rinse this guy out. It's not overly dirty, but I want it to be clean-ish when you put ducks in it. It doesn't have to be like sterile or anything. The ducks are just going to poop in here and get a water mess everywhere, like I said. So I'm just going to rinse it out, get the dirt out of the bottom of it, and this is what we'll use for our brood box. All right, so I rinsed out the green tub that I'm going to put the babies in. This is just in their duck house, so there's their door, and then the other ducks go over here. I'm going to keep them in here overnight because I want them to be able to hear the other ducks and to know that there's other ducks around. And I also want my established flock to know that there are going to be little ducks in here. Oh, look, they're coming to see me. That's Wiggles. That's our mallard peckin mix. Anyway, so I want them to be able to hear each other and kind of work together to get to know each other. So I think leaving them in here is the best plan. I'm also going to get this heat lamp down. So that's the heat lamp that we had used. It's up high. It's plugged in, or not plugged in. It's over their duck house. Let's see, over their nesting boxes. See their heat lamp right there. This is actually just a light, so we can see in here in the night. This is their heat lamp. I'm going to pull that down and take that out and use it here. So first things first, we got to get straw laid down in this. So I'm going to do that first. Okay, and the straw I have too is just this leftover straw from when we built the scarecrow to keep the ducks from getting eaten by hawks. And that's all I'm going to lay in the bottom here. And I'm going to do a pretty thick layer. I don't know how thick anyone is comfortable with, but it's discretion again. My suggestion is still read what you can about what other people do. Read how they set up their brood boxes. Watch a lot of videos on how they do it, and then take the little pieces that are going to work for you and do what's going to work for you, because every duck is different. Every flock is different. Every set of ducklings is different, and every homestead is set up a different way. And what works for me may not work for you, and what works for somebody else might not work for me. But the best thing is just learn what a duck needs, learn how to care for babies, learn about their heat requirements and food and stuff, and then go from there. That's the best you can really do. So I've got quite a bit of straw in here. That's a good couple of inches. This is what we're going to put their water in, and they are going to make a gigantic mess out of this. So my idea is to put the water and the food in opposite corners. And I don't have water in here yet because I don't have the babies yet. Once we get the babies, before I put them in this box, I will have this full of water and ready for them. Because when they're shipped, they'll come with usually just like some lettuce so that they can have water, but not actual water because they're shipped in a cardboard box with holes in it. So, and this is their food. I'm going to put crumbles in here. And again, I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm going to wait until right before the babies get here. Make sure this is set up so when I bring them in their little carrier, I can just put them each in here. But I'm going to set these up in opposite corners to try to keep the food more dry. So, and then the next step is to get that heat lamp down and try to get it assembled over here and hung up over here so that we can have a heat lamp over this. Okay, so here's our heat lamp. This is the setup we have right now. We just added this wire here so we can hang this on like a hook above, and it can, like, this wire is adjustable so we can raise or lower it. But I'm thinking I'm going to need it about here. So we may have to add another piece of wire in order to get it hung up, in order to get it hung low enough. But again, you're going to have to watch the ducklings too, because I don't want to hang this up and turn this on just yet until they're ready to be in here. I just want this stuff set up and ready to go when they arrive, because my plan is to pick them up from the post office and immediately put them in this brood box under this heat lamp and get them some water. Yeah, so you're going to have to watch your ducklings once you put them in here, and you're going to have to see if they're like underneath the heat lamp and crying, then they're probably too cold. And if they're like scattered toward the edges of the box and they're trying to get away from the heat lamp, then they're probably too warm and you need to raise it up. So you have to kind of watch, and you have to use your own judgment as to where you need to put this thing. So this does not have a temperature gauge on it. You could use a thermometer. We have never done that in the past. We just watched the ducks. The ducks will tell you what they need. In my personal experience, but if you want to do a thermometer, then that's fine too. So you can monitor the temperature that way. And then we're going to try to reduce the heat as we go. So this needs to be able to slowly go up to get them less and less heat as they become accustomed to being ducks, having feathers, and doing all the things that ducks do. So anyway, I'm going to get something hung here so I can hang this. And that's the last step for our brood box before we get the babies. Once we get the babies, I will do another video, show you the babies, show you how I've adjusted the light. And the other suggestion too is the food. I would get crumbles as opposed to pellets. I found even with our naturally hatched ducklings, the pellets are kind of big and they're a little bit harder to eat for the little ones. So I would suggest just getting crumbles, and you can feed the crumbles to your adult flock too. It doesn't really matter. So, but the pellets are just a little bit harder for the little ones to get through. So anyway, that's how we're going to set up this brood box, and I'm going to go get something to hang this heat lamp up. So all I did was put this screw in the wall, or in the rafter, the roof of their duck house, and then I added twine to attach to the hook that we already made, the wire hook, and I've got the heat lamp over the brood box where I want it. It may need to be lowered, but we can just add more twine and tie knots. Do you see where the knots are? To help you raise and lower it. So if I want to lower this, all I would need to do is take this off of here and loop it there, and you've got it a little lower. So who knows, we may start with that. It's hard to say. It's not really necessary right now, but we'll just take this cord, hang it up over here, get it out of the way, and then we can plug it in as we need it. Oops, sorry. Really jerky right now. So we'll just plug it in as we need it. If the ducklings are out and about and they're playing outside, obviously I'm not going to need it. I could unplug it, but that's what I've got for our brood box situation. And I will come back as soon as we get these babies and show you how they are doing in here, and hopefully show you, like, if I change the height of the heat lamp so you can see their reaction, like the differences in their reaction if they're too hot or too cold. Hopefully we get it right the first time, but that's pretty tough to do. So anyway, that's our setup. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and you'll come back and see the entire thing finished when we get the little babies in. So, really quick before I go, this would be like an example of like what we're doing when it's cooler. Obviously, like I said before, it is kind of cool today. It is in the low 40s, which is pretty cool. If you're setting this up like in the summer with the heat lamp situation, or you live somewhere that's quite a bit warmer, this is going to be different for you. If you're setting this up in the heart of winter, this may even be more intense with the heat lamp And you may do some things a little bit different with the brood box and put it in a warmer spot than outside to begin with. So again, you have to figure out what you're doing for your area, your climate, the season that you're getting the ducklings, and all of that will come into play when you set up your brood box. So I just wanted to make that little quick disclaimer. This is to set them up in like autumn, like when it's starting to get cool, but it's not quite cold yet. So anyway, thanks for watching. We hope you come back to see the babies when we get the babies in the mail. So have a good day from WaY out here. Bye.